Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a truly fascinating story. At first glance, it might seem like just a simple little fable, but it actually holds a really powerful, super practical blueprint for fundamentally shifting your mindset and, well, your entire reality. Today, we're looking at the story of the beggar and the businessman. So, can changing your thoughts truly change your life? I mean, it's a huge claim, right? We hear it literally all the time in motivational spaces. But today, we're going to explore a real-world application of this exact concept through the profound journey of a beggar who lived at a railway station. And as you'll see, this story provides a very concrete, undeniable answer to that big question. Part 1. The Beggar's Reality. So our protagonist spent his days at this bustling city railway station. His entire existence was basically built around one single action: asking passengers on passing trains for money just so he could fill his stomach. He was caught in this continuous, unending cycle of pure taking without ever giving anything back in return. And this gets right to the core of his problem, drawn directly from the source material. I am just a beggar. I only ask from people. He firmly believed that his complete lack of resources meant he had absolutely no worth to offer anyone else. His identity was completely, inextricably tied to his perceived helplessness. He just couldn't even imagine a world where he had something of value to provide. Moving on to part 2, the first encounter. One day, while doing his usual rounds, the beggar spots this tall, impeccably dressed man in a suit boarding a train. Seeing obvious wealth, the beggar expects a generous handout and immediately starts asking for money. But this man isn't just a wealthy passenger. He's actually about to become the catalyst for our protagonist's entire transformation. Instead of just handing over some loose change, the man refuses, and he delivers this incredibly harsh but vital truth. If you have nothing to give, you have no right to ask. I am a businessman and only believe in give and take. It's a really striking moment. The businessman introduces a fundamental law of nature here, a transactional reality that completely shatters the beggar's worldview. This one sentence literally plants a seed that will uproot his entire life. Now, put yourself in his shoes for a second. The businessman gets on the train and leaves, but his words, they stay behind. The beggar agonized over this for 2 full days. What can a beggar possibly give in return? He agreed with the businessman's logic. Maybe he wasn't getting much money because he was offering zero value to society. But he kept hitting a brick wall. I'm a beggar. I have nothing. Let's move to part 3, implementing give and take, and see how this builds. On the third day, still sitting near the station and pondering his dilemma, he finally notices something he had probably walked past 1,000 times. There were wild plants growing around the station, just covered in blooming flowers. Suddenly, a spark. He comes up with a brand new business model. Step 1, pick the free wild flowers growing near the tracks. Step 2, when approaching passengers on the train, instead of just asking for a handout, offer them a flower in exchange. Step 3, he is finally providing value to receive value. Boom. Almost overnight, he shifted his actions from begging to basic commerce. And this brilliantly illustrates the immediate impact of that shift, which was honestly staggering. When you look at his old life of meager donations with no exchange, compared to what happened when he offered flowers, the difference is massive. People were thrilled. They gladly took the flowers and gave him significantly more money in return. He noticed that as long as he had flowers to give, the money flowed in. But the moment he ran out of flowers to distribute, the money stopped. The law of give and take was working exactly as the businessman had promised. Part 4, the mindset shift. So this daily routine continues successfully for a while. He gathers flowers, he trades them, he eats well. But the true, deep transformation hasn't fully materialized just yet. Then, one day, while working the trains, his heart practically jumps into his throat. He looks up and sees him. The tall businessman from the first encounter is sitting right there in the train car. This is it, the moment of ultimate inspiration. The beggar doesn't even hesitate. He rushes up to the tall man, but this time he isn't just asking for charity. He confidently says, "Today I have some flowers to give you. If you give me money, I will give you these flowers in return." He is eagerly, proudly applying the exact rule the businessman taught him. The businessman gives him some money, takes the flowers, and then delivers this phenomenal line. He says, "Wow, what a thing. Today you have become a businessman, just like me." Think about the sheer weight of those words. The businessman then got off at his stop, but that single sentence pierced right through the beggar's heart. It validated his efforts, yes, but more importantly, It instantly and permanently shattered his old self-image. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in his reality. On one hand, you have his old paradigm. I am a beggar, people give me charity. On the other, his empowering new truth. I am a small businessman, people are buying my flowers. He suddenly realized that people weren't giving him alms out of pity anymore. No way! They were paying the price for his goods. They were buying his flowers because they were affordable and brought them joy. He was providing a legitimate service. His eyes literally lit up. He felt like he had just been handed the master key to his entire life. He stepped off the train, totally overwhelmed with excitement, looked up at the sky and shouted at the top of his lungs, "I am not a beggar. I am a businessman. I can be rich too." The people around the station probably thought he had completely lost his mind, but the truth was he had finally found it. The very next day, he left that railway station and no one there ever saw him begging again. Which brings us to part 5, 6 months later. We're back on a train, moving through the city, but the scene is very, very different. Two men, both impeccably dressed in sharp suits, are traveling in the same compartment. They strike up a conversation. One of the men asks the other if he recognizes him. The second man says no, assuming it's their first time meeting. But actually, scratch that. This was their third meeting. The first man in the suit reveals himself. It's the former beggar. He reminds the tall businessman of their first encounter where he learned the give-and-take rule, and their second encounter where he was taught his true identity. The former beggar enthusiastically explains how he took the money he earned from selling those flowers, bought even more flowers, and reinvested his profits. Knowing the local demand, he scaled his operation up until he became a major, large-scale floral merchant. And right now, he was traveling to another city for a massive business deal. He shares this incredibly crucial insight with the tall businessman. They weren't giving me charity, they were paying the price for the flowers. He explained that the only thing that had kept him in poverty all those years wasn't a lack of opportunity, it wasn't a lack of resources, it was entirely his perspective. As long as he saw himself as a beggar in his own eyes, well, the world treated him exactly like one. Both men exited the train together that day, sharing a laugh as absolute equals, proudly discussing their respective businesses. Part 6. The ultimate lesson. So the crucial point is, why does this story from the source material matter so deeply for you and your own journey? First, embrace the rule of give and take. Value is exchanged in life, it's not just handed out. Second, you must truly understand your own self-worth. Third, and honestly perhaps most importantly, people will treat you exactly how you view yourself. If you label yourself as helpless, the world agrees. If you think small, you stay small. To reach the top of whatever mountain you're climbing, you absolutely must elevate your mindset first. Success isn't just about hard work. It's hidden entirely within how you perceive your own identity. And that brings us to our final thought for this explainer. What labels are keeping you small? The beggar was trapped by the word beggar until someone helped him replace it with businessman. What words are you using to define your own limits? I want to challenge you today to shed those outdated, limiting beliefs. Reevaluate what you have to offer the world, change your self-image, and just watch how quickly your reality transforms to match it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.